Time now for a look at the day's business news. We're joined with Kate Moody. Thanks for joining us, Kate. We're going to start with a shake-up at Twitter.
That's right. The chief executive is stepping down after 5 years on the job. 51-year-old Dick Costolo helped lead the messaging platform through a successful stock market debut in 2013. He's also largely credited with helping transform Twitter from a sort of quirky startup that limits users' character count when it launched back in 2006 to a mainstream social media platform that's a real force in the tech industry. While Twitter has over 300 million monthly users, it hasn't seen the kind of growth that it had hoped for in the past year or so, and it has yet to turn a profit as a public company. Costolo's decision to resign appears partly related to that criticism. Co-founder Jack Dorsey will temporarily take the reins while the company looks for a replacement. And just in case you're shopping for a job, Twitter is apparently looking for a new CEO who uses the messaging platform every day and who really loves tweeting. Now, Twitter shares rose more than 7% in after-hours trading, investors welcoming that departure, hoping for a new direction. In Asia, we're seeing a pretty flat trading session, a mixed picture there, as you can see. We've seen some big movers on the Kospi in South Korea, even though the index itself is dipping into the red. We've seen both carmaker Hyundai and Samsung Electronics making some pretty strong gains there.
OK, well, on Thursday, Kate, the European markets got a bit of a boost following optimistic comments that Greece and its creditors may be inching closer to a deal. How's that looking now?
Well, those hopes were actually dampened shortly after the markets closed on Thursday. The Athens Stock Exchange closed up more than 8% on Thursday. But the IMF then left negotiations in Brussels, saying that they weren't getting anywhere. The Greek government's reform proposals weren't enough to release the next round of bailout funds. The European Council also said there was no more time for gambling and that Athens had to start being realistic. Now, Alexis Tsipras seemed to tell a bit of a different story as he headed home. Anti-austerity protesters had been marching through the streets of the capital while others were celebrating the reopening of the country's public broadcaster. And the Prime Minister seemed still to be optimistic that his negotiators are taking the right approach and that a deal will be reached. Take a listen.
We are fighting in the negotiations, and as long as the Greek people support the efforts of the government will be holding the just demands of the Greek people in order to have a deal that will also be a solution.
Now, the next key date in these negotiations will be next Thursday. That's June the 18th. That's when the next Eurogroup meeting is scheduled to take place. And of course, remember that Athens owes the IMF just over €1.5 billion at the end of this month.
Slightly bigger than my overdraft, let's put it that way. Lots of other things on the minds of European officials, of course, in addition to Greece. Europe's also formally opened an antitrust probe into Amazon. Tell us more.
That's right. Well, this allows the European Council to begin examining clauses in Amazon's contracts that require publishers to inform the US-based firm about deals that they have with its rivals. Amazon's tax affairs in Luxembourg are already being scrutinized by Brussels officials, alongside retail giants like Apple and Starbucks. Claire Murphy has more.
Amazon is the dominant distributor of e-books in Europe, and over the last 8 years it's estimated to have sold over 30 million Kindles. Sales, though, have dipped more recently as book lovers revert to the physical form. And adding to the woes of the world's biggest online retailer, now its practices have drawn the attention of Europe's antitrust investigators. The European Commission has confirmed it will investigate clauses in Amazon's contracts with publishers, including a requirement for them to inform the company about arrangements with competitors. Brussels fears the contracts will stifle innovation, and the commissioner in charge of competition policy said Amazon's successful business model couldn't shield them.
It's my duty to make sure that Amazon's arrangements with publishers are not harmful to consumers by preventing other e-book distributors from innovating and competing effectively with Amazon. Our investigation will show if such concerns are justified.
The antitrust probe will centre on the largest markets of English and German e-books and comes as Amazon also faces pressure from the Commission over its tax structures and links to low-cost Luxembourg.
And we're going to finish, Kate, with Zimbabwe. Their national currency has been losing value for years. Now the government's just abandoning it completely.
It is. On Thursday, the central bank announced that it would begin removing the Zimbabwean dollar from circulation. Inflation has soared in the past 6 years or so. The country has been informally using a number of foreign currencies, including the US dollar and South African rand. And now that's becoming official. Zimbabweans have until the end of September to exchange their remaining local banknotes. And just to give you an idea of the exchange rate, bank accounts of up to 175 quadrillion Zimbabwean dollars can be cashed in for about $5 American. Not a great exchange rate.
Not a great exchange rate at all. Thanks very much, Kate Moody, with the business news.